The WNBA is in huge trouble now that Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are eliminated from the WNBA playoffs, losing to Alyssa Thomas and the Connecticut Sun 87-81. On Wednesday, the Fever made their first postseason trip since the 2016 season. The Fever, led by Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell, finished the season strong to clinch the 6th seed in the WNBA rankings. And you might think it's not that bad for Caitlin's first year. And well, yes, you're right, but the Fever being out of playoffs already is literally the worst thing that could have happened to the WNBA at this point. And to fix this, they're going way too far. Are the other players going to bring in the viewer? Clark does no. Are the other teams going to bring the viewers? And no. Are they even going to bring in full stadiums at least? Well, the answer is no. The W is in a lot of trouble now that the Fever are out. We'll probably all witness the viewer numbers plummet from now on.
Handful of games this season, mainly when they were playing against Caitlin Clark. WNBA players, they have finally experienced what it feels like to play in front of people who are capable of breathing without the assistance of an air compressor. With the chase for the golden toilet beginning this past weekend, I know the community of identifiers, they want to continue this celebration into the fall. But Uncle Casey is here to tell ya, the celebration is over. Reality is knocking on the door of the porta potty. The truth is finally coming to the light. The same light that is going to be dimming here in about 12 hours when Caitlin Clark is eliminated from the playoffs is finally being proven without a shadow of a doubt. Caitlin Clark is a megastar. Caitlin Clark is a box office draw, while the rest of the WNBA, it is nothing but a polished turd. Well, it appears that Caitlin Clark fans have listened. Last night, I received the ratings for the first round of games for the chase for the golden toilet. As expected, Caitlin Clark, she was able to draw even though she was competing directly against the early games in the NFL. And as expected, the rest of the WNBA was completely ignored.
So the WNBA is expected to completely collapse at this point, and who would have thought? We all knew Caitlin was the reason people were watching, and now that she's gone, the people are gone. But this goes even further as the WNBA and its sponsors have caught on to this, and now they're trying to do damage control because they need rating, and they can't have a rookie girl as their poster figure because she's out. And well, according to the behind the scenes, she isn't the exact poster girl the West was hoping for, and it's all getting exposed right in front of our eyes at this very moment.
Everything that we've been talking about, like what's wrong with the WNBA, what's wrong with diversity, equity, and inclusion, what's wrong with this race agenda, what's wrong with this Black Queens agenda. And so he's written a story about Nike and why Nike has been reluctant to take advantage of Caitlin Clark. The WNBA's never had anything. Nothing. Cheryl Miller couldn't really move the needle. Candace Parker couldn't really move the needle. Now they have this woman, and she's made the WNBA relevant. And I'm like, why isn't she being promoted? And how did Nike get her at such a reasonable, wasn't it 22 or 32?
$28 million.
$28 million over 8 years. Like, that doesn't add up to me.
Jason Whitlock is completely right here. Why would Nike invest this much just to let it slip? And why would the WNBA not invest any resources into the one asset that they have? It all has to do with the stereotype the W would like to see.
In the early Clark era, Nike stock has tanked over the span, and the CEO just got ousted. By the way, though Clark got famous around 22, if you want to buy her shoe, you could be waiting until 2026 to 2027. It goes on to point out, like, Caitlin Clark's in her first NBA playoffs, first NBA season, and she's wearing Kobe Bryant's shoe. They don't even have a shoe for her. And it may not be until 2026, 2027. LeBron James had his own signature shoe his rookie year. So 20 years ago, Nike was nimble enough and had enough vision to see that, hey, let's get LeBron's shoe out here. This guy's going to be a big deal. They can't do this for Caitlin Clark for some reason.
And this isn't even the worst part. Here comes the kicker, and it shows us exactly why Caitlin Clark is being ignored by Nike.
So he walks through, like, there was a Nike ad for Iowa Caitlin, though it wasn't exactly pushed on the public. There has been No Nike commercial for Clark as a pro. Let that sink in. No Caitlin Clark commercial. She's had 4 years of being the biggest star in all of sports, driving up these television ratings. No Nike commercial. That was me. Now back to Ethan Strauss. Now Clark's Fever are in the WNBA playoffs, and she's wearing Kobe sneakers instead of her own signature brand. In summary, Nike lucked into the marketing chance of a generation, and they're using that to advertise old product. Why is it happening this way? Now here's the money. Based on conversations with people in the know, it indeed has something to do with the WNBA MVP and Nike athlete Asia Wilson. But beyond Wilson, it's about the culture of the company that's more concerned with quelling noise rather than making it as Nike once used to. Don Staley and the rest of the angry Yas Queen feminists saying, don't do that for that white girl until you make this 6'5" black woman more popular than the white girl. That when you look around and ask yourself, why is the WNBA marketing the playoffs leading with Asia Wilson and not Kelsey Mitchell, not Caitlin Clark? Why? Why are they? No, you're white. You have to stand in line. We're committed to Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson not going to sell a shoe. Period. End of story. Are idiots. Idiots. They're not about business. They're not about growing the WNBA. They're about diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is insanity, what they're doing to Caitlin Clark. It's bad business. It's short-sighted. When this woman exits the playoffs, probably tonight, the WNBA playoffs are over. You wonder why they sat and watched her get stabbed in the eye by Dejanay Carrington and did nothing? They want her out of the playoffs.
And this is exactly what happened. Caitlin Clark got eliminated, and now the league can forget her at least. That is what they and Nike want, right? What are your thoughts on that? Is the W finished for this year now that Clark is out? And will the fans tune in next year when she's back? Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments down below. Now back to Clark and her game last night. The Fever's strong recovery throughout the season was insufficient as the Sun advanced to the WNBA semifinals for the 6th straight season. The Fever may not have gotten the conclusion they wanted this season as they were swept by the Sun, but there is still a lot to be pleased of. When this team began the season with a 118 record, they were written off. However, the combination of Clark and Boston is something the Fever can build on. Both Boston and Clark were named to the WNBA All-Star team as rookies, and it's almost certain that the Fever will have back-to-back Rookie of the Year winners if the Fever can keep improving. They will almost surely return next season, and despite the defeat, Fever rookie wonder Caitlin Clark had a fantastic performance, ending with 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists, while nearly leading a fourth-quarter rally to save Indiana's season. Clark is the first rookie in WNBA history to have a 25.5 rebound, 5 assist playoff game, and the first rookie to achieve June 9th, 25 in a WNBA or NBA playoff game since Magic Johnson in 1980, despite just playing 2 postseason games. Clark has contributed to one of the finest rookie seasons in WNBA history. Clark got out to a strong start in Game 2, hitting down her first three-pointer after a rough shooting night. In Game 1, she gradually cooled off as the toughness of Connecticut wore down Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, both of whom played the entire 40 minutes. Despite the hefty exertion, Clark got a second win as the Fever attempted to get back into the game in the fourth quarter. She gave Indiana a late lead with a three-pointer with 4 minutes left, but Sun guard Marina May immediately answered with a 3 of her own, and the Sun pulled away. The Fever found the proper combination of players and play style in the second half of Caitlin Clark's first season, catching fire and rising to the number 6 seed following a slow start to the season. Indiana increased their tempo and added Lexi Hull to the starting lineup, eventually becoming one of the top offenses in the WNBA. Now the Fever face a critical summer in which they must continue to develop around their two core players, Clark and Aaliyah Boston. If Clark improves in her second year, she has the potential to lead a team to a championship with the proper pieces around her. The Fever's first priority of business this summer will be to resign guard Kelsey Mitchell, who shined after the Olympic break this year, and turbocharge the Fever attack down the line. Mitchell and Clark had a solid rapport as the season progressed and Christie's sides began employing them in actions together to produce friction for defenders. Mitchell's season average was 19.2 points per game. In terms of external acquisitions, the Fever might incorporate an athletic wing into their rotation. Hull performed admirably as a 3-and-D option this season, but the Fever could use someone who can fill that role either with Hull in smaller lineups or as a backup. Consider Misha Hines-Allen of the Minnesota Lynx, who will be a free agent this offseason. And despite the Fever's season-ending defeat to the Sun, the star broke another record and became the first player in WNBA history to average at least 18 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 0 steals, and 0 blocks per game across Ross an entire series. Michael Jordan is the only other athlete to have accomplished this accomplishment in both the WNBA and the NBA, which is fairly rare. Company Clark, who had a difficult Game 1, has repeatedly demonstrated that no amount of hardship can keep her down for long. The Fever guard, like a 10-year veteran, has a goldfish memory because she constantly gives her all and does not let past incidents snowball into the present. Clark led the Fever in Game 2 with 25.6 rebounds and 9 assists on 10-23 shooting, and she only turned the ball over 3 times below her season average. This was a good rebound from her 11.8-assist effort in Game 1 when she shot only 4-17 from the floor, and by redeeming herself, she earned herself a lovely piece of history. Of course, it's worth noting that WNBA first-round matchups are only best of 3. The Sun comfortably defeated the Fever in Game 1 93-69, and then in Game 2 Connecticut survived a much stronger effort from Indiana, thereby ending Caitlin Clark's season. Given the disparity in the amount of games necessary to complete a playoff series, it's possible that comparing Clark to Jordan is a little misleading. However, one must admit that the Fever guard's propensity to accumulate stats is exceptional, and it won't be long until that converts into postseason success. Caitlin Clark's cultural influence cannot be emphasized. She has attracted a record number of WNBA viewers. The WNBA has become popular due in large measure to her marketability, but she backs up her marketability with remarkable skill, converting the Fever from a perennial lottery club to a playoff contender in the span of a season. Clark has seen her fair share of growing pains, with the Fever struggling to begin the 2024 season, but she has become increasingly comfortable playing against the game's veterans, and she has demonstrated that she not only belongs, but she is there to stay at the top of the WNBA totem pole. Clark, only 22 years old, has already established many WNBA records, including the assist record, which she is expected to beat in the future, especially if she addresses her turnover issues. Clark should also make the Fever an appealing destination for free players, allowing the team to develop a true title contender going ahead. So will you be watching the Fever again next year? And could they get a top 4 seed in 2025 and even make it to the semifinals of the playoffs? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe for daily WNBA news.